We're closing into games, ladies and gentlemen, and we have some serious injury updates since today is Friday. Obviously, big day for practice reports. Joshua Palmer did not practice again on Friday, so I was assuming, okay, Palmer played last week. Sounds like he'll probably be good to go. Obviously, he's not going to practice Wednesday. Maybe he doesn't practice Thursday. Seeing him miss practice again, definitely very concerning. And I'd say even if Joshua Palmer does play, maybe we have to lower expectations overall where you're not super excited to actually go and get him in your starting lineup. Gus Edwards, Odell Beckham Jr., neither listed on the injury report. You can start Gus if you want. I'd be more excited about that in a non-PPR league than a full PPR league. Odell Beckham Jr., obviously, we're not starting regardless. Now, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, no longer listed on the injury reports. They're both going to be good to go. Really tough matchup going up against Baltimore. Definitely play Metcalf. I know Lockett had a great week this past week, but in reality, I don't necessarily think that we can come out here and say like Lockett's someone that you need to start. Now, Amari DiMercato is actually out for the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals, it's interesting because Kyler Murray is no longer on the practice report. Kyler Murray is questionable. He is making the trip to Cleveland. So maybe the Arizona Cardinals offense is a little bit better, but still, we probably don't want to be starting anybody here in the Arizona backfield. You have Keontae Ingram, Tony Jones Jr. really is the only guys. I mean, Keontae Ingram obviously would be that step up. And if it was a great offense and if it was a great matchup, I'd say, oh yeah, definitely play Keontae Ingram. But the thing is, going up against Cleveland, not super excited about it. David Njoku, not listed on the injury report, should be good to go. Michael Wilson, it doesn't matter. I don't want to be going through that. Devontae Parker, doesn't matter. So this is big. So Aaron Jones, head coach Matt LaFleur says, quote unquote, he looked good, had a good week, ready to cut him loose. So it looks like most likely Aaron Jones now falls in the bucket of someone that you are having to start this week. Justin Fields did get in a limited practice. Justin Fields is still doubtful for this game. Daniel Jones, not in the injury report. Daniel Jones will be good to go. Matthew Stafford is going to be a game time decision per Sean McVay. Now, typically we know Rams playing on the East Coast should be a later game, so it's going to be very difficult to figure out what's going on. Not the case this week. The case this week, they're going to be playing against the Green Bay Packers, and that game does have a noon kickoff Central Time, so we'll know everything we need to know by the time that you get there to submit your starting lineups. I'd say you're starting Kupp regardless. Puka is someone that maybe, just maybe you can bench. Probably not, but I mean, if Stafford were to miss, I mean, obviously Puka is significantly less appealing. Drake London is going to be ruled out week 9. Curtis Samuel's ruled out week 9 as well. I'd say give a bump up to Jonnu Smith, give a bump up to Kyle Pitts. Nobody else in Atlanta, obviously, outside of Bijan Robinson, is appealing. Going over to what we have, Chuba Hubbard going to start week 9. I mean, that was expectation. Dameon Pierce will not be playing, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously at this point, it looks like you are going to have Devin Singletary going out there and stepping up into that role. But the thing is, you aren't going to be super confident about Devin Singletary, and that it may end up just being, I don't know, Mike Boone splitting this backfield with them. And if that's the case, really not going to be excited about it regardless. But I think that should be it for the updates. If y'all have any more questions regarding these injuries here, please feel free to ask. I'd be super happy to talk about anything a little more in depth. But yeah, let's get ready to start answering some of these questions in general. And if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, of course, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard as well. But C. Mello says, traded Jefferson and Kyron for Amon-Ra and Ayuk. Phenomenal deal. I mean, give me St. Brown over Jefferson, not close. Ayuk versus Kyron Williams, kind of up to your team. But yeah, let's go St. Brown. RM member, 5 months strong. Happy to have you as always, my man. Thank you so much for everything. Do Jazzy Jeff says Singletary or Darrell Henderson? Have BBR. It's tough. Obviously, we can assume that this Rams offense is a little bit worse than usual. I would say we're most likely going to just go ahead and take Devin Singletary. And would you trade Kincaid or Goddard away to get Mixon? I would rather have Kincaid over Goddard, but I'll trade either one for Mixon. And we're 6-2, L. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for everything. And yeah, if you have both tight ends, let's go sell one and let's get Joe Mixon if we can. Jacob says, Etienne's on bye. Start Jamal, Strong, or Edmonds. Not going to go Pierre Strong with him being the RB3 in Cleveland this week. I think we'll go Jamal. You actually have a top 5 implied team total for the New Orleans Saints. In reality, nobody's exciting here, but maybe you just get lucky and have a touchdown. Most likely that won't be the case, though. We'll see. Van says, what's Jefferson's value? Any trade targets? So if you're ever wondering, oh, what's this player's value? What I would do is I would just head over to flockfantasy.com. We actually went through and launched community rankings for everybody here. And with these community rankings, it's completely free on flockfantasy.com. We have over, I think it's been live for like a week and over 70,000 people contributing to it already. Not 70,000 people, I apologize. 70,000 contributions to it. Big time difference there. I mean, if it was 70,000 people on flockfantasy.com, oh boy, I would be a happy man. But let me pull this up. So essentially what will happen is you go to flockfantasy.com, hit the rankings. And then once you hit rankings here, you are going to be prompted with 4 players to rank. You go through, you rank these 4 guys based off how you would have them. I would go George Kittle ahead of Gabe Davis. I'd go Rachaad White ahead of Gabe Davis. Probably go about this order. We're going to hit submit. And then you can see all the community rankings. We take that data point, and then on the back end, we go through and we look at, and we combine everything to give them a cumulative ranking. So if we're going to look at wide receivers here, Justin Jefferson's now going to be wide receiver 8, according to everybody in the community. He is going to be directly behind St. Brown, Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, and directly out of Kupp, Adams, and Jalen Waddle. So if you're looking to sell Jefferson, you're going to be looking at like the Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen range. And honestly, it is up to you if you would want to do that or not, my friend. Now, Andrews says, hey, Mason, 12-team full BBR. A bit messed up with buys this week. Should I flex Jahan Dotson or Demario Douglas? We're going to go Dotson. I mean, John Dotson gave you the good week last week. And also you have no Curtis Samuel this week again. Now, Luigi says 4-4, 10-team PBR single flex. We have Stroud, Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Higgins, Godwin, Kincaid, Bijan. And then on the bench, Etienne, Watson, Lawrence, Tank, Walker, Javonte, Jameson. Generic advice, any traits? I really don't want to be rostering 3 quarterbacks here. That's the first thing that stands out to me. It's a phenomenal team. I would say with how strong our running back room is, this is actually one of those very rare instances where you could afford to go out there. You could afford to sell Kenneth Walker. Like if you wanted to possibly send away, I don't know, like Kenneth Walker and a wide receiver like Chris Godwin and go get a top 10 wide receiver, if we can do that, I think that make a lot of sense. Specifically on this team. Right? Now, Cror says PBR trade Brian Robinson and Addison for Devontae Adams or Olave. I would honestly make either deal post Cousins injury. I would prefer Adams over Olave, however. Okay. James says 12-team PBR 2 and 6. This week, starting Tua, Bijan, Madison, AJ Pittman, Andrews, Watson in the flex. Start Singletary over Madison or McBride over Watson. Hell no. Go Watson over McBride. Madison versus Singletary. I think that one's going to be close, and that one is going to be up to you. Honestly, I would not fault you for going either direction here. I hate to give you this answer, my friend, but I think, can everybody spam the chat? Would you rather have Alexander Madison or Devin Singletary this week with no Dameon Pierce? Like I said, my hesitation when it comes to Devin Singletary is the fact that this is most likely a backfield where you're also going to see Mike Boone get involved. So please let me know in the live chat, would you have Devin Singletary or Alexander Madison? Please let me know. Madison, Devin. And I'm sorry, if you're copying and pasting a message over and over again in the live chat, you'll get muted just for a second. Please do not do that. It ruins the chat for everybody else. Singletary. So we have 2 votes for Singletary, 2 votes for Madison. I honestly don't know how to answer it, my friend. I do think that it ultimately is going to be up to you. I think it is going to be up to you, my friend. Now, Clutchbox says we have CMC Gibbs on bye. I have to start Keontae Ingram. Brutal. I mean, it would be easier to start Keontae Ingram if he wasn't playing the Cleveland Browns, right? If he wasn't going up against Cleveland, okay, yeah, sure, we can start him. Sam says, 10 TBBR, guy just traded CMC and Metcalf for Josh Downs, Pacheco, Myers, and Kirk. Everyone's upset. As a commish, I don't know what to do. It's not collusion. This trade is far enough away where I think you can reverse it. Typically, I say 9 times out of 10, you don't want to be stepping in between trades. 9 times out of 10, you would rather this kind of just play out. They do them, you do you. But there, I think if someone's trading away CMC for pennies on the dollar, that is something that could threaten the league, and I'd be fine if you wanted to make a change. Now, Dylan says, start 2, Henderson, Chuba, Rice, Moss, Devin. We're going to go Chuba, and honestly, oh my gosh, Zach Moss, Devin Singletary will be close. I would actually kind of want Matthew Stafford healthy if we were starting Darrell Henderson, just because I want it to be a better offense in general. I'm probably going to go with, oh my gosh. I'm probably going to go Chuba Moss. For sure play Chuba. The other spot is a little bit harder. Robert says, plagued by injuries, Moss, JSN, or Dotson for the flex. Most likely you're going to go Moss. Moss does have that very nice matchup. Now, Sodi says, start 3 running backs, standard league. Jones, Brian Robinson, Stevenson, Devin Singletary, and Keontae Ingram. We're going to go Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, and then between Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, and Keontae Ingram. This is a very tough spot. I am probably to go Keontae Ingram over Devin Singletary. The issue that I have with Devin Singletary is, like we were saying, Mike Boone's going to get involved here. Mike Boone will get involved. Isaiah says, your Insta post inspired me to go run. You look insane. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. And just in case y'all didn't see, I'm not going to pull up the Instagram post here. Mason_Dodd on Instagram ran a marathon today. I think it was our 3rd marathon in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So put in the work, trying to train for the Ironman the best I can. Obviously, it's very hard during the season, but Nathan says 10-team full BBR. We have Hurts, Eckler, Hall, Waddle, Higgins, Kincaid, Smith, Barkley, and then on the bench, Kyler, Etienne, Jefferson. Unbelievable team. I would say that at this point, you probably want to go ahead and you want to see if we can send maybe like Evan Ingram in a package with someone else to get an upgrade inside the starting lineup. Like if you wanted to go Evan Ingram and Jalen Waddle to go get a stud wide receiver on a team where you already have Dalton Kincaid, I think that'd make a lot of sense. Or maybe we could say the same thing with the backup quarterback here. If you wanted to go Kyler Murray and say T. Higgins and go get a stud wide receiver that way. I have nothing against those players. It's more so just about the construction of the team, right? Now, RM says 10-team BBR double flex. 1 flex spot to fill. Gabe Davis, Drew Bubbard, Zach Moss, Taysom Hill, or Jahan Dotson. I'm going to go with these starting running backs seeing the volume. I'm going to go with Drew Bubbard, but I'm an idiot. We also have Allen and Diggs to double up with Gabe. Obviously, it will be a very high scoring and a very exciting game there. So if you wanted to go Gabe Davis, I think Gabe Davis probably has a higher ceiling than Chuba Hubbard. I think that Chuba Hubbard probably has a higher floor, though. Now, Manny says 16-team double flex, 6-2. We have Lamar, Walker, CMC, Wilson, London, Davis, JSN, Moore, Andrews, Laporta, HN, Hunt. Got offered Adams, Taylor for CMC. Give me CMC. Or Adams for HN, London. If I was going to make one of the deals, I would go and sell HN, London for Devontae Adams. My only hesitation is it's a 16-team double flex format where depth's going to matter significantly more. So if we have Andrews and Sam Laporta, what I'd prefer doing is I'd prefer seeing if we could sell, like, instead of Devon HN, see if we can maybe sell Sam Laporta, right? I think that'd potentially make a little more sense here, at least in my mind. Okay. Now, Exit says 12-team Happy BR traded Montgomery to Jefferson, White and Chase to Lamb, Amari, then Amari for Pacheco. I hate the Chase deal. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Traded Montgomery for Jefferson and White. That's a phenomenal trade. Chase for Lamb and Amari, I still don't like it. I'd rather have Chase, even if we got Pacheco on the back end. I think it's a great team. And honestly, from this point, I don't necessarily see any moves that we are really dying to make. I just think I would have probably preferred us going through and keeping Jamar Chase now that Burrow's fully healthy. Jeff says, full BBR flex, Moss, Singletary, Anderson. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. I'm probably going to go Zach Moss with a great matchup against Carolina. I'm not confident in it at all, and we probably have to spend more time thinking about it, to be honest. Joey says, trade Dillon for Dotson. It's a 16-team league. Running backs are Najee Ford, Jaleel, Strong, Achane. Receivers are Thomas, Brown, Dell, Palmer. I would say, yeah, I definitely prefer Dotson this week, but ultimately, long-term here, it's going to be a much tougher spot to say that with. Whenever you do have Curtis Samuel eventually back in here. So I think you can do it if you really, really wanted to. I wouldn't be that excited about it, but it is up to you, my friend. It is up to you. Now, Big Pew says, do I do Cup and White for Etienne and McBride? Thanks. Thank you. Cup versus Etienne. Give me Etienne. White versus McBride. Give me White. I think it's a fair deal, and I think it's going to be up to you. Ryan says, pick two, Robinson, Henderson, Devin Singletary. I'm going to go Darrell Henderson and Devin Singletary. Also, Kareem Hunt or Darrell Henderson. I'm going to go Kareem Hunt. Justice says, you gave me advice last night. 8-0 team. Traded Pittman, Brian Robinson for Brees in London. Phenomenal move. Team is Hurts, Walker, Brees, Tyreek, Lamb, Hockenson, Amon-Ra. Any more moves? Now I think you kick back and relax, my friend. I mean, if you have another player way down there in the bottom end of the bench that really is not going to make a difference for you one way or another. If you wanted to go out there and send, say, a depth wide receiver like Tank Dell or Rashee Rice and TJ Hockenson to pivot over to like Mark Andrews, go for it. But yeah, great team. Rob says traded for Pollard, but afraid of the Eagles DST. Need two running backs in a flex. Wilson, Swift, Hall, Pollard. Don't overthink it, my friend. Start all three running backs. Start the three players that have the guaranteed work. Matt says, happy BR, do I trade Rice and Addison for Javonte? I'd probably trade one or the other for Javonte. I don't know if we're going to do both. Max says, least I'd accept for Tua. Tua, Terry package for who? Okay. Let's swing this around and let's look at how Tua is ranked currently in these community rankings on flockfantasy.com, just to give you an idea of the value you could expect to get back from Tua. Assuming Tua will be inside the top 50. Okay, Tua's at 34. Tua's around like the Mark Andrews, David Montgomery, Devon Achane, Kenneth Walker, Adam Thielen, Dalton Kincaid, Joe Burrow. Oh, Dalton Kincaid's way too high here. Joe Burrow, Jalen Waddle, Jacobs. I love Kincaid. Just have him over Mark Andrews is egregious. But yeah, if you could take maybe like Tua and Terry McLaurin and turn them into like Kenneth Walker, if that's something that you needed, then sure, you can go ahead and look at that. Sam says, this is about the CMC trade question. I already approved it yesterday because I've been approving all trades, and they're claiming I need to be consistent. I mean, obviously, it's a very difficult situation as a commissioner, but I would say, like, I give you permission, and I never veto trades, literally ever veto trades. But that CMC trade is so egregious that if you wanted to veto it, I think you're going to be completely fine in doing so. I think you can, to be honest. Okay. Now, Frosty says, wide receiver heavy, and I want Etienne or Kamara. Currently have Dak, Lawrence, Diggs, Adams, Keenan, Godwin, Douglas, Pollard, Mixon, Henderson, Kittle. What's the least I can give up to get one of the RBs? I think you'll probably end up having to give up Keenan, to be honest. I mean, just the price point that I've seen with these running backs, I think the deal that you're most likely going to have to make here is I think it's going to be like a Keenan and Darrell Henderson for Etienne or Kamara trade. I could be off, but that's what I would think. Okay. Now, Reagan says, need a running back and 2 flex players, full PBR. Options are Moss, Cooper, Gabe Davis, Henderson, Roschon, Singletary, Sanders, and may need a backup plan for Puka. Our running back, we're going to go Moss. Our 2 flex options, we're going to go Amari, Gabe Davis, and we're going to play Puka regardless, even if Matthew Stafford does not play. And then we go Puka there, even if Stafford doesn't play. Michael says, I'm 4-4, playing the number 1 team. However, I'm projected to win thanks to Deontay Johnson yesterday. Do I start McBride or Taysom at tight ends? Full PBR format, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Trey McBride. Non-PBR league, I would say, to be honest with you, just go ahead. Take the rushing touchdown upside that you're going to get with Taysom Hill. But full PBR league, I'll just go with the guaranteed target volume. Now, Batman Gaming, always happy to see you, my friend, says, have PBR 3 receivers, 2 flags, 6 bench spots. We have Lawrence, Walker, Henry, Mixon, Spears, Mitchell, Hill, Ridley, Godwin, Rice, Davis, JSN, Osborne, Goddard. Would you trade Godwin and Stroud for Tua and Michael Thomas? So, general rundown, just in case people haven't heard us talk with Batman Gaming about this league. I know he already knows it. But typically in this league, where you're starting, say, 3 wide receivers and 2 flex spots, you're going to be more so incentivized to go out there and build around wide receiver depth. So typically, we're not really going to be looking to go out there and sell guys like Godwin. However, I mean, I think that Tua here is a noticeable upgrade for our starting lineup. I do think that he will move the needle. I think he's a player that we can start every week regardless of matchup. Godwin to Michael Thomas is a downgrade for this format. I think that we probably like at least getting Michael Thomas in return, because you could see Michael Thomas be a viable option for you in one of those flex spots, right? I mean, even though we're already sitting with Hill, Ridley, Rice, Davis, hopefully the long-term upside of JSN, I think that this is a trade that you can make. If it was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, it'd be a no-brainer. Here it's going to be a little bit closer, but I think we can make it regardless. RM says Pittman, Gabe Davis, or Moss in my other flex. I'm going to go ahead. I will play Michael Pittman there, my friend. And real quick, everybody, I am in the Underdog draft lobby right now for the Dog Bowl. This is the $25 buy-in. First through third place gets the trip to Miami, minimum $10,000 as well, where you have a chance at $1 million in prizes in Miami. So you better believe your boy's going to go out there and he is going to take a shot at that. I think there are 5 spots open in our draft. And the big reason why I am doing these drafts right now over there on Underdog is specifically in that Dog Bowl contest. If you draft 10 or more teams, for every team that places inside the top 2,000, additional to the regular prize pool that you have, they have an additional promo going on that every team inside the top 2,000 also gets $25 credit as well. And yeah, you can, that's the same place as all these pick'ems, Underdog Fantasy. If you don't know, we drafted 700 teams on Underdog last year. Your boy won $150,000. And yeah, if you want to go check out any of the drafts with us, if you want to check out any of the pick'ems, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan says, hey Mason, should I start Pop Douglas Dotson with no Samuel, Tank Dell or Christian Watson? We're going to go Watson over Dell, even though there's no Robert Woods. I'm going to go Dotson at wide receiver with no Curtis Samuel. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. No, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you. Now, Delicious Dan says, I did trade Lawrence and Kittle for Burrow and ETN for Pollard. I'm 2-6 and couldn't risk. It was the right move. I mean, you did lose value in the long term. But if you're 2-6, you need points now. Batman Gaming says, same team. Would you trade Godwin and Davis for Adams? It's tough. I think I would almost rather have the Tua deal, or if we can get at least another wide receiver in return for on top of Adams, I would like it. Going back to what we were talking about previously, it is just very difficult to go through and trade the 2 startable guys for only 1 player in return in that league where you start 3 receivers and 2 flexes. But Tillian says 12-team PBR single flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Pollard, Diggs, Amari, Andrews, JT, Hall, Hubbard, Judy, Warren, Kyler, Dobbs, Douglas. Congrats on the marathon, you absolute dog. Appreciate you, my friend. And any insight on the team/direction, I should take it. I think that you're in a very good spot. It's very boring advice, and I know you're probably just going to roll your eyes and go, Mason, I've heard this a million times. But in reality, I mean, we're sitting here and we have running backs that we love at the top end. So I'm looking at this team. I'm going, okay, Chuba Hubbard's a running back that's now a starter. I mean, there are a lot of teams in your league that would find some value in having Chuba Hubbard, having someone that they can play. And in reality, he's not doing anything for our team in particular. We're never starting him over Bijan. We're never starting him over Pollard. We're never starting him over JT. We're never starting him over Breece Hall. So I would love to see if we could go out there and send Chuba Hubbard in a package and get upgrades somewhere else. So if you could possibly do that and maybe send, say, Chuba Hubbard and Amari Cooper and go get a better wide receiver, I think that'd make a lot of sense. And another player that looks expendable for this team, where you have a decent amount of value that you could be giving on, would be Kyler Murray. Like, Kyler Murray not really going to do anything for us when we have Lamar. But for another team, we could get something out. Now, Young Visionary says, start at the flex, Jerome Ford or Rashee Rice. Hill and Deontay are my wide receivers. Walker and Jefferson. I'm sorry. JJ are my RBs. Who the hell is JJ at the running back position? Full PPR format. I may, oh my gosh. The thing is, Cremont may still have the red zone role here, which is why I'm hesitant to tell you to go out there and start Jerome Ford. But they do have a great matchup going up against Arizona. I'm probably going to go ahead. I'm going to take Jerome Ford, but I'm not feeling super confident with it. Charles says 12-team PPR. We have Lawrence, Pollard, Etienne, Chase, Lamb, Waller, Amari. On the bench, Jason, Charbonnet, Ferguson, Keontae, Kyler, Fields. Just traded Lamb and Everett for Adams and Laporta. I think it is a fine deal dependent on your expectation for this Raiders offense, post quarterback change, post coaching change as well. I mean, if you are looking at what you have here, sometimes you will get that bump. Maybe we can be excited. I don't know, my friend. I don't know. It's just so hard to see how it gets significantly better. Now, the GOAT coming out saying 10-team full BBR 4-4. We have Fields, Kyler, CMC, JT, Cook, St. Brown, Ridley, Amari, Addison, Tank, Goddard, McBride, Keontae, JSN, any moves. Goodoffered, Cup, Stevenson, Moss. For Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Cook. St. Brown to Cup, slight downgrade. Cook to Stevenson, kind of whatever. Moss, kind of whatever. I'm trying to get a Cup Mixon deal. Should I offer an extra wide receiver for it? The thing is, if you're trading for Cooper Kupp right now with the injured Matthew Stafford, you're the one taking on the risk. Amon-Ra St. Brown is giving you the elite level production every single week regardless, you know? So, I mean, I'm fine going out here and making a trade like this. It's just ultimately going to be very much dependent on the value that you are looking at. So I don't know if we're going to be, I mean, if you wanted to add in like a small wide receiver like Tank Dell, then sure, you know, but like, don't go and add Amari Cooper. Don't add Jordan Addison to this deal. But the Kupp Mixon package would be significantly more appealing than the Kupp Stevenson Moss. I think if I could trade St. Brown and James Cook for Kupp and Mixon, I'd do it. Just not if we have to add in a player that you are very much excited about at wide receiver. Now, the real Cole Grant says Myers and Deontay rest of season outlook. Should we package for an upgrade? Myers, the simple answer is I have no freaking idea, my man. I mean, it's up to you and what you think the change will be with this coaching staff and QB change. And then Deontay, I would actually probably look to sell high. I mean, Deontay is just a target hog, right? But the issue is the overall passing offense is so damn bad in Pittsburgh. Read a stat that, can y'all guess how many games with more than one passing touchdown Kenny Pickett's had in his entire NFL career? Can y'all please guess in the chat? Kenny Pickett, games with more than one passing touchdown. He's played 20 games in his NFL, or started 20 games. We got a guess of 50. I'm assuming this is a troll guess. We got 10. We got 0. It's in between those two. I'll tell you that much. You've had one game from Kenny Pickett where he's had more than one passing touchdown. One game. So I don't know. I'm not really excited about Deontay going forward. Now, Todd says, PBR, need a receiver 2 and a flex. Olave, Amari, Nico, and Cook. I'm going to go Olave and Amari if Watson is truly going to go. If Watson's not, then we'll pivot to Nico. Pedro says 3 and 5, non-PBR. We have Burrow, Hubbard, White, Deontay, Garrett, Wilson, Hogginson, Moss, and then on the bench, Madison, Addison, Downs, Hunt, Hollywood, Terry. Need help? What to do with a last-minute switch? So non-PPR format, typically we are building around running back here. I mean, I don't necessarily love how much wide receiver depth that we have. I mean, in terms of changing anything in the starting lineup, I don't necessarily think we do it in a non-PPR format, like in terms of start-sit decisions. The only thing I'd say is, I mean, if we were to go out there and potentially look to make some trades, I would love to take one of these bench wide receivers that are pretty good, right? But someone say like Hollywood Brown, Terry McLaurin, Jordan Addison. I mean, we have Josh Downs, so many of these solid bench receivers, and go package them with one of those running backs like Rashad White or like Chuba Hubbard in the starting lineup to go get an upgrade elsewhere. Now, Osk says, what do you think 10-team PBR 5 and 3? We have Herbert, Jacobs, Brees, Stevenson, Moss, Allen, Lamb, Higgins, Downs, Goddard, and Njoku. I like it. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we can do to improve it. No, I really like the team. I think that it's a well-balanced roster where we have depth and upside at each position. Charlie says, full BBR, Higgins, Nico, or Stevenson? The correct answer is probably Stevenson. The fun answer is Higgins. I think that Stevenson would give you a higher median projection. Higgins would have a much higher ceiling. Caleb says 12-team, full BBR, single flex, 6-2. We have Burrow, Mixon, Henderson, Hunt, Tyreek, Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Dell, Palmer, Kincaid, Goddard. Who are we starting the flex? Hopkins locked into wide receiver 2 already. Okay. So Mixon, Henderson at running back. Tyreek, Hopkins, wide receiver. Kincaid at tight ends. I guess for the flex, we're going to go back to the running back position. We'll play Kareem Hunt. I have a lot of Kareem Hunt in Underdog best ball draft, so I hope I'm wrong. I hope Kareem Hunt keeps on going out there and scoring touchdowns. I'm very much worried, however, that Kareem Hunt's going to fall back down to earth very, very quickly. Lucia says, who wins this trade? Jacobs for Gus Edwards and Gabe Davis. I'd rather have Josh Jacobs, not close. Tyler says, Puka, Hollywood, Goddard, Kincaid, pick 3. To start this week, we're going to go Puka, Hollywood, Kincaid. In terms of rest of season value, we're going to go Kincaid, Goddard, Puka. But, I mean, I'm not excited to put a tight end in the flex spot, of course. Now, also traded Etienne and Waddle for CMC and Olave. What are your thoughts? Etienne to CMC, beautiful upgrade. Waddle to Olave, slight downgrade. Give me the CMC side, not close. Dane says, I just traded Evans, Kamara, Pittman for Olave and Tyreek. Win or loss, the dude that traded me this is 2-6. I think it's a massive win. Give me Olave, Pittman. I mean, honestly, up to you. Take him out of the deal. Whatever. Rather Mike Evans, Kamara versus Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill by a mile, my friend. Love it. Love it. Now, Caleb says, forgot to add Hollywood Brown on the last question. We would put Hollywood Brown in the flex then in a full PPR format. Yeah, flex Hollywood Brown in that instance. Hopefully we have Kyler this week. Hopefully. Now, James says, have BBR start Jason, Mingo, or Shakir. The man. Appreciate you, my friend. I'm an idiot, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Jackson Smith and Jigba and hope that JSN is able to overcome a very tough matchup here. Let me refresh this so we keep bringing these up. And as I do this, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. I mean, we are 1 like away from 200 likes on this live stream. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. Now, Kevin says, traded Devonta Smith and James Cook for Kenneth Walker, 7-1. 14-team league. Don't love it as much because obviously it's going to be harder to come by that depth, but still, I think it's a great team. I mean, sorry, great move. Rest of season, we have Goff, Love, Chase, Deontay, Walker, Goddard, and then on the bench, Myers, Debo, Fournette. Thank you. No, thank you. And yeah, especially if we have this depth like Jacoby Myers, Debo Samuel on the bench, then yeah, I think we actually really like it. Now, Epic Chicken says 10-team full BBR. I traded Thielen, Javonte for Higgins, Barkley, Hunt. Give me Barkley over Thielen, Higgins, Hunt versus Javonte. Up to you. So yeah, great move. Now we have Hull, Saquon, Ford, Warren, Hunt, Deontay, Higgins, St. Brown, Pittman, Davis, Debo. Moves to get a third RB. I don't think you need to do that, my friend. I think, honestly, you're chilling as is. I mean, these running backs down there on the bench do have upside if their situation were to change here. So, honestly, I'm probably not looking to make any more moves at that point. I'm probably just riding as is. Now, Aaron says, Jones, Watson, or Mayfield, full PPR. If Deshaun Watson plays, I will go Deshaun Watson. If he doesn't, we'll go Baker Mayfield. Aaron says, Myers, Javonte, Downs, Dell, Douglas. Pick 1. And McBride or Pitts. We're going to go Pitts over McBride now that you have no Drake London. And assuming it's a half PPR league, I'm probably going to go with, oh my gosh. Let me pull up my flex rankings to see where those other guys are at. Honestly, I don't even care what it says here. We're going to go Myers. We're going to go Myers and hope that this offense is okay. We're going Myers here, my friend. Now, Michael says, happy Friday, man. Happy Friday. 12-team Happy BR 6-2. We have Lamar, Jacob, Swift, Puka, Jacoby, Hockenson, Taylor, Saquon on the bench. Trade Hockenson and Saquon for Kelsey. Ooh. When you have this much running back depth, I understand why you're looking at the deal. I don't know. It's a fine trade. I probably don't make it. I understand why you'd want to, though, with your team construction. I think you could if you want. Austin says, who do you like better rest of season, Ayuk or Devonta Smith? The real answer is up to you. I mean, ultimately, the thing is, if you were looking at this situation, if you had no Deebo Samuel rest of season, it'd be Ayuk easily. But as you get Deebo Samuel back in, it's just going to be much, much tougher. Aaron says, Chase, Evans, Pittman, Thielen, Olave, pick 4. We're going to go Chase, Pittman, Thielen, and then I will go Chris Olave. Olave's averaging like 10 targets a game in games that he's healthy. Also, Jones, Moss, Taylor, pick 2. Not really wanting to start 2 Colts. Yeah, I'm fine not starting 2 Colts. We're going to go Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor. I think Aaron Jones, based off what his coaching staff's saying right now, you're probably having to go out there and you're probably having to play Aaron Jones this week. Now, Jeffrey says 10-team full BBR double flex, 3 and 5. Starters are Levis, Hill, Puka, Bijan, Eckler, Schultz, Smith, Lockett. And then on the bench, we have Goff, Singletary, Palmer, Ertz, Achane, Pierce. Should we make any changes? First and points scored on. Brutal, my friend. I mean, in terms of changes in the starting lineup, no, not really. In terms of trades, I don't really see anything. The only thing I would say is cut Will Levis after this week, with Will Levis really showing us that he's not going to have any rushing upside here, which we were previously hoping for. So I think you can move on from Levis, and that's going to open up that roster spot, obviously, for us to hopefully be able to get Devon Achane back next week. Thomas says, do you trust the Matt LaFleur news on Aaron Jones? Said he's ready to be unleashed. The thing is, Aaron Jones did just get over 50% of his team's targets, right? Like, the usage is trending in the right direction, so it makes sense. Need a receiver and 2 flexes between Watson, Dell, Douglas, Henderson, Aaron Jones. Thoughts on Douglas? I think he's a low upside, low floor player that I'm not interested in. I'm going to go Christian Watson, Darrell Henderson, and Aaron Jones definitely for that second flex. Now, Yaniv says, full BBR, pick 2 for the flex. Henderson, Brian Robinson, Hollywood, Higgins, JSN, and Hubbard. Okay. Full BBR format, I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard and most likely T. Higgins. I think you can make an argument here for Hollywood Brown going forward. My issue is I would just rather wait a second. See this offense with Kyler Murray back hopefully soon. And then it is a very tough matchup against Cleveland for this week. Now, Tyler says 10-team PBR 8-0. We have Hurts, CMC, Mostert, Brees, Gibbs, Hunt, A.J. Brown, Puka, Addison, Rice, Downs, Laporta, McBride. Any recommended moves? First off, my friend, congrats on all the success. Phenomenal, phenomenal squad. Second off, I'd say Kareem Hunt's not doing anything for us. Obviously, Hunt's had 4 touchdowns over the past 3 weeks. I mean, if we could go out there and send maybe like Kareem Hunt and a wide receiver in either Josh Downs or Rashee Rice to go get an upgrade at wide receiver, or go send Kareem Hunt and Jordan Addison to just go pivot to a better receiver, I think that would make a lot of sense, because I don't think that Kareem Hunt honestly does much for our team in particular, but I do think that he could really help out another person's roster. Let's move this over to Brian says, happy BR 12 team, trade Dak Montgomery for Achane Lawrence. Dak to Lawrence, lateral move up to you. Montgomery, Achane, lateral move up to you. You can if you really want to. Yeah, you can if you really want to. I mean, I don't know. Big Body Bird says 3 and 5 trade Keenan Garrett Wilson for Amari Hopkins, T and Ayuk. Garrett Wilson to Amari, downgrade. Keenan to Ayuk, downgrade. We're getting T and Hopkins to pay the bill. Honestly, I'd probably rather keep the best players in Keenan and Wilson. They're already through their bye as well. Now, Spencer says 12-team full BBR. We have Lawrence, Jacobs, White, Diggs, Adams, Hawkinson, Olave. And then on the bench, Hubbard, Rice, Henderson, DeMarcado, Roshan, Madison, and Carr. Any moves or any trades? I wouldn't make any trades with this team. I just think that it's probably a safe thing to say that you're in a situation where you can just go ahead and cut DeMarcado, cut Roshan Johnson, backfill with options that we like elsewhere off waivers. Because ultimately, I don't know what the real ceiling is going to be for those guys. Especially as we are looking at Khalil Herbert getting back healthier soon and James Conner getting back healthier soon. Now, the Bacon King says I traded Goddard for H.N. Kyron. I'm sorry, Kelsey for H.N. Kyron and Goddard. I really don't like it. I'd rather add Kelsey. We have Mahomes, Montgomery, Moss, Warren, Adams, Thielen, Smith, Deontay. Did I mess up? I think honestly you did. I think I would have preferred Travis Kelsey here. And obviously, I mean, if you are taking Kelsey or you're taking inherently a decent amount of risk. But honestly, it would have been a risk that I'm fine taking. And that you're only starting Moss and Montgomery at running back with Warren. Because the thing is, if we could have gotten a different running back than Achane, like if it would have been like Jacobs, then let's do it. I'm just worried about the volume with Achane. Like he's pretty much being fueled off of entirely just efficiency. Now, Michael says 12-team PPR was offered to Hawkinson for Jacobs. Give me Jacobs easily with the Cousins injury. My tight ends are McBride and Taysom. My running backs are H.N. Walker, Moss, Spears. No, please keep Josh Jacobs, my friend. Jacobs has the guaranteed workload. And like we were saying, I mean, Cousins is really going to negatively impact Hawkinson. Now, Eric says, hey, Mason, I'm in a real tough spot and a lot of players on bye. 14-team BBR. Would you play Roshan, Justice Hill, or Tony Jones? Gross. I would probably go Justice Hill. He still has the receiving role. Obviously, Gus Edwards has been great. Gus Edwards is a little bit banged up. And Justice Hill is still playing about 50% of the snaps. Like Tony Jones is going to be an RB2 in his own offense. His offense is going to be worse. And it's going to have a tougher matchup as well. Now, Lewis says, should we start Hunt, JSN, or Hollywood in the flex? Full BBR format, I'm going to go Hollywood Brown, my friend. Michael says 12-team non-PPR, single flex. We have Mahomes, Swift, JT, Myers, Puka, Ferguson, Moss. And then on the bench, Higgins, Debo, Ayuk, Dobbs, Carr, Kyler. Any moves? Cut Derek Carr for sure. Or sell Kyler Murray in a package elsewhere. We don't want to be rostering 3 quarterbacks, though. And then I'm trying to figure out what else we could do here, my friend. I would say we're probably going to be actually non-PBR format. I'm fine if you wanted to bench Higgins. I do think Higgins has a lot of upside, though. In rest of season, we are probably looking at Higgins. Cameron says, ETN on bye. Do we start Moss or pick up Chuba Hunt off waivers? I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard's the full-blown starting running back now. Also start Hawkinson and Kincaid. I think Hawkinson and Kincaid are extremely close. I mean, I have them ranked back-to-back in our rankings this week. Kincaid is a great matchup, and I am excited about him. I'm going to go Hawkinson until we get another week of, just under the belt for Dalton Kincaid, though. Now, Shot says, do we start Ford over Rice, Downs, Henderson? I would start Ford over Rice and Downs, probably not Henderson. Bullman said, oh, you can start him over Henderson as well. It's just going to be a three-man committee, but it is a very good matchup going up against Arizona. Now, Bullman says Singletary or Henderson. I'm going to go Henderson. And I don't know the second thing. I'm sorry. Now, Adrian says 4-point passing touchdown. Watson, Carr, or Stroud this week. I think we'd go Watson rest of season. If you look at the implied team totals, however, you're actually getting an implied team total inside the top 5 in the NFL this week for the New Orleans Saints. The majority of this should come rushing the football, obviously, against the Chicago Bears, but we're still probably going to go in that direction. Now, Ricky Barboni says, 4-4, 12 team, half BBR keeper. Trade Laporta, HN for Tyreek. Hell yes, do it. I understand, keeper league, maybe you want the rookies. No, just make the trade. Go get Tyreek Hill. And we have Stroud, Watson, Bijan, Kamara, James Conner, AJ. Davis, Pickens, JSN, MT, Rice, Andrews. Yeah, so this looks like a contending team as well with some of these older assets in Brown, Andrews. If it's just a keeper league, I'm always treating it as if it's a redraft. Obviously, once you start keeping, say, 15 players, then it's a little bit more like, oh, okay, well, this is a dynasty league where we probably want to keep the rookies. Now, Owen says 7-1, 14-team single flex PPR. We have Lamar, Hall, Walker, Hunt, AJ Brown, Ayuk, Watson, and Jogan McBride. Trade Walker for Gus, Waddle. I would say not in a full BBR format. I'm just not excited about Gus in a full BBR league. He's average fewer than a target a game. Want to move off of Walker to a playoff schedule. Any other moves? Pick a flex between Hunt, Douglas, McBride. We're going to go Hunt. And then honestly, I'd say no other moves because specifically with this team, it is a very tough spot with it being a 14-team league where it's going to be harder to sell depth. But I would keep Kenneth Walker. Maybe I just don't have enough Gus Edwards and why. I drafted a lot of Kenneth Walker. I didn't really draft any Gus Edwards. Wish I had more Gus Edwards, but it is what it is. Thomas says, do Pats have best SKD for receivers? I do not care. Do not be excited about the Patriots offense. We're going to keep this very simple. The Patriots offense is not exciting for whatever. Doesn't matter what reason you try to concoct up. It's not. Curve Square Store says 12-team BBR 2-6. We have Hurts, Hall, Walker, Waddle, Cooper, Collins, Kelsey, Javonte, Rice, Chuba, Sutton, Roshan. Should I trade Walker, Waddle for Eckler, Olave? I would really like this move in a full PBR format. Yeah, I think that Walker to Eckler is a clear upgrade. And I drafted way more Kenneth Walker than Austin Eckler this year. And then Jalen Waddle to Olave is a downgrade, but you're inside the same tier. Obviously, the gaps between those wide receivers are just going to be marginal in general. So yeah, I love it. Dan says 2-6, need a win. 2 quarterback super flex, Mac Jones or Gardner Minshew for a streamer. We're going to go Gardner Minshew, my friend. These are really my only options. Insert pile emoji. I think a Gardner Minshew is a fine option. It's a decent game if you look at the over-under. Curve Square Store set meant Brees and Waddle for Eckler and Olave. I'd still go Eckler and Olave, full PPR. Now, Damien says, Olave or Cup? Feel like it may be Olave's week. I think Olave is definitely exciting. I'm still going to go Cup over Olave, though. Now, Luke says 6-2, 10-team full BBR double flex. We have Hurts, Kyler, CMC, Pollard, Chuba, Chase, Amon-Ra, Downs, Deontay, Douglas, Laporta, Taysom. See any moves? Not right now. I would say that we're definitely going to be looking to sell Kyler, say with Josh Downs, and go get a wide receiver upgrade there, wide receiver 2, or Kyler and Deontay Johnson coming off a massive Deontay Johnson week. If we have Jalen Hurts, I think that could be something we look to do, my friend. Now, Little Luke says 12-team full BBR 7-1. We have Dak, Brian Robinson, Singletary, AJ Brown, Adams, Puka, Andrews, and then on the bench, Kirk, Deontay, looking for a better running back. What do you think? I 100% agree. I think we need to go get a better running back. Obviously, you're going to have to sell someone that people are excited about. I think people are excited about Deontay Johnson with the week that Deontay Johnson just had. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he had 14 targets. And obviously this week, I mean, it was a great game on Thursday night with everybody watching. So yeah, I mean, if you could go sell Deontay and say a running back like Brian Robinson or Singletary and go get an upgrade, I would really like it. Now, Dylan says trade Kelsey, Devonta for Gibbs, Mostert, Hockenson, and Puka. So Devonta Smith to Puka, slight upgrade. Kelsey to Hockenson, massive downgrade. We're getting Gibbs, Mostert. I just don't, in general, I never like giving up the best player and then getting like 4 quarters. Like you're giving $1 for 4 quarters. Like this isn't the trade I typically like, unless if you're playing in a 14-team league, a 16-team league, then go for it. But if this is like a 10-team format, then no, I'd rather trade for either a stud running back or just hold on to Kelsey. Jeffrey says, lost Kirk at quarterback. Thinking of trading Gibbs. Should we target Herbert? We have Gibbs, Walker, Rashad, Montgomery, Warren. Yeah, I think that's a fine idea. I would definitely go for a top 4 quarterback first. See if you can go get Lamar. See if you can get Mahomes. See if you can get Allen. See if you can get Jalen Hurts. Probably can't, but let them reject you. And then if they reject you, go for Justin Herbert. Nicholas says, trade Jefferson, Jacobs for Chase and Waddle. It's a non-PPR formats. Stroud, Higgins, Swift, Taylor, Jefferson. Because it's a non-PPR format, I'm a little bit more hesitant to go out there and give up the running back in Jacobs. However, with the Cousins injury, I do think that there's a big enough gap that we have between Jefferson and Chase where I'd be fine with us going through and making the move. Now, Brian says I'm 6-2, 12-team full PPR. Traded Walker for White and Aaron Jones. Is this a win or a loss? If Aaron Jones is really ready to be unleashed, then maybe it's a win. I drafted way more Kenneth Walker than Aaron Jones this year, so I'm a little bit biased. I want to just say, give me Walker. The lineup is Lamar, Burrow, Barkley, Aaron Jones, Allen, Waddle, Scary Terry, Kittle, the flex. And do we start Amari or Rashad White? I'm going to go Amari under the assumption that you do have Deshaun Watson really good to go. I'm going to do it under that assumption. Now, Zeus coming out saying 4-3, 10-team, single flex, non-PPR. Traded Thielen and Brian Robinson for Eckler. Phenomenal trade, even in a non-PPR format. We have Mahomes, Waddle, Higgins, Mixon, Hunt, Kelsey. Yeah, great team. So, I mean, here we're built around the elite quarterback and the elite side end in the non-PPR formats. We still have the wide receiver depth pieces here. I think it's a great squad, to be completely honest with you. And yeah, we don't have too much depth where it's not like we're loaded up a piece at the very bottom end that we're looking to sell. Now, Shot says, Gus over Ford still. Appreciate the grind. Appreciate you, my friend. Probably, I mean, the thing with Jerome Ford is Kareem Hunt may have the red zone role. And you still have Pierre Strong getting involved as well, right? So there are 3 running backs in this backfield. Riga says, should I trade DK and Terry? Yeah, I mean, if you can. It obviously depends on the price. Chris says, Dynasty at PBR trade Hunt and Dobbs for Hollywood. Dynasty, hell yes, give me Hollywood Brown. Wazoshi says, CMC eats it on bye. PBR play Addison, Henderson, or Singletary. I'm going to go Addison and Singletary. Addison, Henderson. I don't trust Singletary with Mike Boone most likely being good to go. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to go in the bathroom. I'm about to piss myself here. So we're going to cut the live stream here. I will see you tomorrow night. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, links in the live chat, description, comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings, plus a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. So make sure you take advantage of that. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you and really hope I get to see you in the live stream tomorrow night.